What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome to today's episode of Spawn Guides, the series where I cover all of the most common spawns and how they behave on every map in Call of Duty Ghosts for Domination. In today's episode, we're going to be covering the second of the Devestation DLC maps, and that is Ruins. Let's get into it. Alright, so starting it off, as always, if you guys are new to this series and you haven't seen the prelude yet, make sure you go and check that out first because it introduces a base of knowledge that you need to be able to understand exactly what I'm talking about throughout this series. I'll leave you guys an annotation link right here as well as a link in the description. So let's have a look at the spawn points on Ruins. For the A flag, we have about 4 spawns that are specifically attached to the A flag, and they all behave exactly how you'd expect. One important thing to note that you may not see at first glance is the one spawn that is the second from the top as you're looking at it right now. That spawn is actually underground, so just be aware of that. That's not above ground, that is an underground spawn. All of the other A spawns behave exactly how you'd expect. They're anchored by teammates and blocked by enemies. As for the B flag, there are quite a few spawns that are attached to it, and there's actually 5 in total. And as you can see, they're all just basically spread out nice and evenly across the B flag area. And there's one spawn that's a little bit weird. It's actually not in behind where the B flag is. It's up on the top middle portion of the map. That is the one that you can see on the bottom left. That's where the picture is. So that one's actually, from there, it's actually quite difficult to get to the B flag. You have to actually go all the way around to be able to get to that B flag. So that's just one thing that you might want to pay attention to. Moving on to the C flag, it's actually quite surprising. As far as I could tell, there are only 3 spawns on this map that are specifically attached to the C flag. I couldn't find any more. I didn't see one in about 2 hours of testing the spawns and pretty rigorously testing the C spawns. And I couldn't get another spawn other than those 3, as well as the shared spawn that I'm going to talk about right away. So with these 3 spawns, they're all pretty straightforward. They pretty much mirror the other 3 spawns for the A flag that are on the other side of the map. Okay, so finally we have this shared spawn right up here. This one is shared between the B flag and the C flag, and it's actually used very often. It's a very common spawn. So a lot of times if you hold the C flag, even if you don't have enemies pushed up into your C flag area, as long as your teammates are kind of anchored towards the B flag, you will very likely spawn here. Same thing goes with the B flag. You can spawn here if you only hold the B flag, and you can spawn here if you only hold the C flag. This one isn't really attached to any flags. Okay, so now that we've covered all of the spawn locations and the flags that they are attached to, it's time to test your guys' knowledge of how the spawns behave on Ruins. In this first situation, the green team holds A and B, and they're pushing pretty aggressively towards the C flag, and the red team holds only the C flag, and they're pushed up towards the middle of the map. Where would a red player spawn right now? I'll give you guys a few seconds to make a decision. Did you pick this shared spawn right here? If so, you're almost definitely correct. Let's go over why that is. So this one's pretty easy to explain. As you can see, the green team is pushing really aggressively towards the C flag, and in doing so, they're actually blocking every one of those C spawns off. Now remember, I had just said that shared spawn is very common, and you will often spawn there when you only hold the C flag, and this is a perfect situation to describe that. This is where the red players will spawn. Moving on to the second situation, I'm actually not going to change the positioning of any players. We're just going to say that this green player right here gets killed. Where would a green player spawn right now? Once again, I'll give you guys a few seconds to make your choice. The 2 most likely spawn points are these 2 spawns right next to the A flag. Let's go over why that is. Alright, so the big thing to note here is that all of the green players are really pushing aggressively towards the C flag on the bottom half of the map. None of them are anchoring the spawn points to an area near the B flag or anywhere near any other area of the map. It's all anchored to the bottom area of the map, and this is why it's definitely going to be one of those 2 spawns. I'm leaning more towards the spawn pushed up towards the C flag, and that's just simply because the green team is pushing so aggressively. They're very likely to be anchoring that spawn in that direction, but I wouldn't rule out the spawn that is right next to the A flag as well. Alright, so finally for the third situation, we're going to take away your spawn map, and we're going to give you this situation right here. The red team holds A and C, and the green team holds B. Where would a green player spawn right now? Once again, I'll give you guys a few seconds to make a decision. The correct answer is this spawn right here. Let's once again go over why that is. So first, let's bring back your spawn map to make this a little bit easier to explain. Now, if we look at the positioning of the red players, you can see that they're clearly blocking every single one of the B spawns except for that one spawn that we chose. This is why the green team will spawn here. And this is one that you kind of have to pay attention to. Like I mentioned earlier, this is kind of on the top level in the top middle area of the map, and it doesn't really seem to be a part of the B area of the map. But it is in fact that area, and if you do find yourself spawning here, it's very, very likely that you have an enemy in your spawn at the B flag. Okay, so that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of Spawn Guides. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.